Let's talk about how to create a successful life aligning through human design as a sparkling, juicy generator. My name is Maika Gabriella, and I'm a human design leader, a deconditioning expert, and the founder of the Transformational Human Design Certification. And I have supported hundreds and hundreds of stuck, burned out generators to create a more juicy, lit up, and exciting life. In this video, I'm going to break down the 4 most important steps that you need to start integrating daily so that you can also create a life that is worth living, that is full of warmth, that is full of juiciness, and that gives you that sense of abundance and prosperity. Let's get into it. Let's start with number 1. And this is one of my absolute favorite things to understand for you as a generator in your human design. And it's such a great way for you to create self-awareness and connect to the wisdom that lies in your body. And that is that energy will always be your barometer. That's a complicated word for me. Barometer. And so why is that? The reason why energy is always going to be your signpost if you are aligned and on your path to success is because what defines you as a generator is this defined sacral center. The sacral center is the energy center at the height of your belly button, and this energy center is connected to your desires, your creativity, your juiciness, your excitement. It is creation of life force. And so you only have access to that characteristic, continuous energy that you're supposed to bring into the world when you do the things that you love. The moment that you start compromising and sacrificing your internal guide, your inner compass, you're moving away from the path to your purpose, and there won't be success in your life if you're not collaborating with the universe to co-create the life your soul desires. And so understanding that your energy and the amount of energy that you have is going to be a clear indicator of how aligned you are and where you need to course correct. And so we can see energy as generators in different aspects. You could have too much energy because you're not putting your energy in the right places, meaning like at the end of the night, you have troubles falling asleep, you're feeling restless, you need to go to the gym to like release that pent up energy. Then we need to look at, you have the chi, you have the life force, but it's not being channeled in the right place. It can also be that you're absolutely burned out, that you don't want to wake up, that you're feeling semi-depressed, that you're not excited about anything and anyone in your life. And this is a clear sign that you are going against your inner compass. And I just want to make clear that it is very common to go against what we feel. And even though it sounds weird, like why would I go against what I feel? The truth is that we are very conditioned by our experiences growing up. And so in order to be loved and accepted, we often had to reject a part of our whole authentic self in order to survive in our environment. And so we become adults that have this underlying fear that when we express and connect to our inner voice, love and safety will be taken away from us. But then when we compromise and we do what people want us to do, that's where we will find love and acceptance. And so we become adults who don't know what to study, don't know what to eat, don't know what to wear. And this is one of the core wounds that the generator carries within them. And so the generator really has this like karmic experience of understanding that they need to let go of their people-pleasing tendencies. And so what I found out through the years and my experience with my clients and my own life experience is that the more resistance, the more pain, the more struggle, the more rock bottom we encounter, the further away we are from our inner compass and what feels right to us. But because we're so conditioned and because we have these limiting beliefs and because society has told us that there's only a certain way to achieve the things we think we desire, we're often blinded by the direction our heart and soul wants to take us because nobody has told us that that's a safe place to hold on to. And so every time you're drained, every time a person, a situation, a job is taking energy away from you instead of infusing you with excitement and joy and like bringing up that energy that allows you to, continuously work on the things and figure things out, like you would like getting into the nitty gritty. I always say the different energy types have energy peaks. And so your energetic peak is in the creation, is in the doing. If you're not excited about the doing of your everyday, you are not on the path of your purpose, and therefore success will not be able to find you in the same way that it naturally will when you start aligning to what feels right for you and you listen to your sacral center. And that leads us directly to point 2. What does responding actually mean? And I get super triggered when I read things about like waiting to respond. And I really dislike that, because waiting for is a complete projector strategy. And in human design, we have this thing called the cellular activation, meaning the words that we use in human design have a specific frequency that is meant to awaken your dormant DNA and prepping your body and prepping your subconscious for the expansion and the deconditioning process. And so I really don't like when people are putting words that belong to the projector strategy into the generator strategy. So what does actually responding look like, and what does it mean, and how can you feel it in your body? How can you get familiar with it? So responding really means that you are in constant collaboration with the universe, that you can imagine that the universe is serving you on a silver platter, yes and no options for your sacral to respond to. This is from the things that you see, the things that you smell, the people that you meet, the food that you have in front of you, things that you see on your phone. Like, you are constantly in action, responding. Your aura is like a magnetic field. It's like this kind of a hurricane energy around you, pulling the right people and chances and opportunities towards you in this very feminine, attracting, magnetizing way when you are a lit up and aligned generator. And so what happens is that you are attracting these situations into your orbit, and the universe is offering you impulses on a silver platter so that you can connect to the wisdom of your physical body and react, okay? What happens is that this reaction has to be visceral. It has to be like, hell yes, this is amazing, or like, ugh, no, disgusting, don't want to do it, like, no way I'm doing it, okay? What happens is that because, point number 1, we often don't trust our own feeling. We have not learned that our feelings and our soul and what feels good to us is the only way that we're able to find our path. We often might neglect what we're feeling. And so we're not connected to our body. Maybe we have grown up with shame around pleasure, with shame about indulging, about juiciness, openness, and receiving, right? All of those things are very generator energy. And so if we have been brought up with shame and blame and guilt around these very pleasurable, beautiful, exciting attributes that belong to you as a generator, it can be very hard for you to allow yourself to respond. It can be selfish to do the things you love doing because you have been programmed and conditioned to sacrifice your desires to be loved and accepted by others. And so it can be scary for generators to start creating boundaries and saying no when they are not excited about doing something. And it can feel kind of like unsafe because maybe you haven't said no before, or maybe you're not sure if what you're responding to is actually something you're excited about or not because you haven't created that trust. But it is really about building that trust muscle with the universe and trying things out. Oftentimes what's keeping us back from finding success through human design or any tool actually is that we get stuck in our mind and we try to learn, and we hide behind that without actually ever implementing. And so there's something to be said about responding to life and trusting yourself and making that commitment to showing up as the version of yourself that you want to be, and risking failing, risking making a mistake. And through risking that and kind of falling in love with the process of making mistakes, you're going to be able to build character and strength. And you're going to be able to understand that you're able to deal with the consequences of mistakes. And so putting things in action won't be as scary anymore. And so you will allow yourself to respond and to connect to what you're responding to way better and more open when you remove the fear of failure. You remove the fear of, what if I'm not responding correctly? Or what if my response is not what I'm actually feeling? All of those things are things you're going to figure out, and you're going to create self-awareness and knowledge within your own body and experience through practicing. And so that is going to be one of the most important things that you can do to actually start seeing change in your life and taking action. We don't have to intellectualize everything. The beauty of responding is that it's in the moment. And anytime you start questioning why you're responding the way you're responding, it's your mind and your fear trying to interfere. And so that's something that's not useful for us. The most stressed out, anxiety-filled generators that I know are the ones that are so afraid of what's going to come or what's not coming in the future that they forget about the magic that exists in the present moment for them to respond and react to the juiciness of the opportunities that life offers to you. The third component of creating success in your life as a generator is really letting go of the shoulds and the musts. And this requires critical thinking and reframing of situations, right? We are so close in our capacity to believe a certain thing has to be a certain way that it's really hard for us to step outside of that limited perspective and, try to find a new way to look at it. And so I remember that I had a generator client and she really loved dancing. But she didn't want to perform dancing, even though a part of her desire to perform dancing, because she didn't really like the training. She didn't like the repetitiveness. She didn't like every day having to do the same and having a strict choreography. She felt that restricted her, that didn't make her feel expansive. And so I thought that was so interesting because that same week I had met this person who was gaining fame and success, absolutely, completely improvising on stage and dancing at really big shows, just freestyle, okay? And I'm not saying freestyle in hip hop, but just without any kind of practice. And I shared this with her because this person is a new generation, new way of thinking, new approach to things, very new paradigm, to be honest, where we're no longer engaged by the shoulds and the musts if they don't light us up. And once you're able to let go of the things you should or you must, and you tap into what your sacral is telling you, that's the only way you're going to find your unique path. Because when we're listening to, marketing people or Instagram influencer people, and they're telling us the only way you're going to make money is if you do these 3 things, or the only way that you're going to be able to sell this and that is you have to write a newsletter and you have to create a funnel and you have to all of these things. If those are ads, if that doesn't feel right with your soul, you are the person who's going to find a way of doing that differently and still achieve success. Because the universe wants nothing more and nothing else than for you to step into your unique gifts and purpose. And so you have the perfect divine qualities and curiosities and gifts and talents and capabilities that make you so that you can stand out in the mass of souls that exist in this lifetime right now. But if you don't tap into your own compass, if you don't connect to your sacral, if you don't focus on the things that truly excite you, you will get lost in the path that belongs to somebody else. And it is so important that you let go of all of the things you're doing because you think that's the only way of doing them. If they're draining you, if they're not bringing you joy, and if they're not exciting you, it is a clear indicator that those are the things that are leading you off the path to your purpose. And it's really important to understand that there is nothing else than your soul that's guiding you. And when we don't listen to what our soul is telling us, that's crippling. That is soul destroying, not to listening to our path. And we end up being burned out, sick, depressed, because we're not allowing ourselves to really listen to our purpose and what it's demanding from us. We have a responsibility to live up to the gifts that our vessel is here to share with the world. And it's not about being selfish. It's not about when I shine, I steal people's light. It's understanding that when you allow yourself to shine bright, you inspire others to show their true colors as well. And so when we're all living in our energetic authenticity and we show up without a mask and we show up as we are, not only are we able to feel seen and loved and create and foster deeper relationships, romantic, family, friendship, work-related relationships, but also we can really start understanding how we're meant to create our own unique path, how we're able to stand out from others. And you can be a pioneer. You will catch everybody's attention because you stop doing the shoulds and the musts and you started connecting to the things that you want to do, that you are excited about doing, that you are interested in learning more and going deeper and creating new narratives around that. That is a clear sign that you are on the right path, because that will create that, specific, unique kind of frequency that makes people see you beyond the ocean of, possibilities and offerings and services that might be out there. And the most common question that I get that I'll answer in this fourth and last step is how to deal with doing the shit you actually don't want to do, right? So maybe you have to cook and clean every day, or you have to be in a job that you really dislike because you haven't found the job that lights you up yet, or, whatever it is that you have to do your taxes, or you have to there's these little things during our day that we feel we have to do, okay? So I really want you to go back to tip 3 and look at if those things are things you actually have to do. If there's a way that you can use conscious communication and delegating things that you really dislike doing, then that is so important. And sometimes we might fear that we don't have the budget, or we're not a moment where we feel like we have the permission to do something like that, or there's some kind of belief and narrative that is holding us back from delegating. I have to also say that because generators have a strong people-pleasing tendency, people-pleasing is a form of control. Overperforming is a form of control to make sure that the other person is completely dependent on you so that they can't abandon you. That is the underlying fear of people-pleasing and overachieving or over-delivering. And so we want to understand the dynamic, because that is a core attachment strategy that you have built up in childhood, and therefore these things go really, really deep into trauma and unmet needs that you've had as a child. So this is not just tomorrow I'm just going to change this. This might require further psychological or therapy assistance, or you can dive deeper with all of the cool things that we have offering on our website, but whatever. This is not the point of this video. The point of this video is understanding that there might be things that you don't want to do. And so the way to deal with them is like this. This is what I recommend. I recommend first, you really ask yourself if you cannot delegate this thing that you don't want to do. If you don't want to do your taxes, you can pay somebody to do your taxes. If you don't want to be cooking every day, you can pay somebody to cook for you. You can pay for meals to come to your door. And if it's a financial situation, try to see if there's a way where you can save somewhere else that you don't mind so much doing something and removing the thing that really pisses you off. I remember I had a client during the pandemic, generator, that didn't have a job because the person was a waiter and restaurants were closed. And yet she despised making her bed and cleaning the house so much that she preferred to save on other things so that she could afford that somebody would come once a week to clean the house. And so we really need to readjust our priorities, because as a generator, your success in the amount of money, prosperity, and abundance that will come to you is directly correlated to the amount of satisfaction that you have in your life. If you're continuously draining your energy doing shit you don't want to do, it is very hard for abundance and success to come into your life as a collateral to the feeling of satisfaction that you're meant to, focus on in your life. So if you're having things that are draining you, that are making you unsatisfied, finding a way to moving them around or interchange them, or asking your partner to take over, or it might be hard to let go of something that you actually dislike doing, which sounds weird, but we often prefer to be in the cycle of shame, blame, guilt, and a hell that we are familiar with than actually stepping out of that comfort zone. Even though we don't want to be in that comfort zone, and the comfort zone feels really bad and shitty, our nervous system and our subconscious tells us that it's safer to be in this pattern that is unfortunate and we don't really like intellectually and we want to get out of, but our subconscious is telling us that's safe because that's all we know. And so really understanding that it might take a lot of courage to stop doing things you don't want to do, because all your life you've seen people doing things they don't want to do, and you've heard people say you got to do things you don't like to do. And I think this is also a fine line, okay? Because I don't want to step into like this very toxic positivity of like, oh, you only have to do things that you love. I don't believe in that, okay? I believe life will bring challenges, and we need to make an effort as humans, and we need to confront our own darkness to be able to bring light into the world and to be able to expand. That doesn't go by just like, smelling the flowers and living the soft life. Like, life will teach us lessons, and we will need to learn and expand and grow and move out of the familiar patterns that we know. We can do this consciously by really becoming self-aware and working on this, or we can allow life to just take it by the storm and guide us through the storm. And so it can be really hard, even though these are things that don't feel good to you and you don't want to do them. It can be really hard for you to let go and, put somebody else in charge, or let somebody else do the things that you don't really want to do, or outsource these things. If you're in a position where that is absolutely impossible for you right now, where you're like, there's no way that I can scrap money to get somebody to clean my house once a week, or there's no way that I can quit my job that I really hate right now, then the second thing that I recommend that you do, and this requires a little bit of magic, is setting an intention. And so setting intention is really, really powerful, but we also need to understand that setting the intention doesn't mean we're going to get the result we want, okay? Setting the intention means I'm giving it up to you, I'm releasing control, and I'm trusting that God, the creator, universe, source, whatever you want to call it, will create the most perfect path for me to receive the thing my soul desires. And so setting an intention for me, I can make a clear example of something that happened to me beginning of last year. And that was that in my business, I started to make a really great amount of money. And I had implemented certain strategies to make that amount of money. And I had paid 10,000 euro, which was the biggest investment I think I've made until date into my business, to create strategies, to hire somebody, to be able to, create all of these structures to be able to make that amount of money that I was making. And so even though I loved the result because it made me feel successful and recognized, and I was so excited that this amount of money that was a really big amount of money in a short amount of time had happened, I was like, I love the result. I feel safe. I feel recognized. This is great. I want more of that feeling. But I could feel in my heart that there was something about the strategy that wasn't fully aligned with the integrity of my soul. I couldn't really pinpoint it though. It wasn't that I was able to clearly say oh, I need to change this. It was a feeling. And so what I did was that I said, universe, hi, thank you. I love the result. I love that you have created this incredible path for me to feel safe, to feel abundant, to make money, to help other people. Thank you so much for creating this opportunity, and I love the result. But the way I'm getting to the result is not 2000% aligned with my heart. Please help me find a way that I can have that result in a way that feels completely in integrity with my soul and my heart, because that's the kind of business I want to have. I don't want to have a business that doesn't feel 2000% great in my heart. And so I kid you not, 3 days after, the person that I invested 10,000 euros in was like, no, I can't do this anymore. I need to quit. And I was like, universe, no. I wasn't ready for this change yet. I was ready for this change. I like the result. Why are you throwing everything off? I wasn't ready yet. Funny enough, I'm still working with this beautiful person. I'm so grateful to have her in my life. But that was such a shock to my system. I was like, no, I'm not ready to lose it. I'm not ready to lose it. And I mean, it's been a year now, right? So it was the catharsis for a really big change, and figuring things out again and again and again and again. And so it's so interesting because, sometimes it can sound so cool to be like, oh, you just have to put an intention in the world and that's enough. But I promise you, There is a power of putting an intention and connecting to the universe and being like, listen, I really need this because I need my soul. You and I both want my soul to be expansive and beautiful and lit up and share it with the world. So make that happen. So if you are right now in a situation where, you want to switch jobs and you don't have the feeling that you can do that right now, set an intention. Set an intention, be like, listen, universe, you and I both know that in this job, I'm not using all of my beautiful gifts at full capacity. Show me the way, guide me to find a job that gives me financial security or an opportunity that gives me financial security where I can tap into all of my gifts and watch the magic unfold. And I know that this is not the most grounding advice, but it is something that has worked for me that I recommend you try out and let me know how it goes. Let me know in the comments below if you have any questions, and if you like this video, please like the video, subscribe, share with anybody who you think could use this information and could benefit from this information. And thank you so much for being here. Remember, I don't care what anybody says. I love you.